A growing controversy is currently unfolding in Washington, as former President Donald Trump faces increasing pressure from lawmakers demanding answers regarding his repeated claims of a $17 trillion investment boom in the U.S. economy, according to Trump. This massive surge in both foreign and domestic investments is reshaping the American economic landscape. However, despite these bold assertions, no verifiable evidence has been presented to substantiate his claims. Lawmakers are now calling for full transparency from the former president to clarify where this colossal amount of money is, if it indeed exists. The stakes are high as the American public waits for answers. In a special segment, we speak with Lawmaker's name, a U.S. congressperson, an analyst's name, a political expert, to discuss this developing story. Lawmaker's name. Thank you for joining us today. You've been one of the most vocal critics, raising concerns about Trump's claim. Why is this so important to you, and what exactly are you asking Trump to do? Lawmaker responds, "It's critical because the American people deserve transparency. Donald Trump has repeatedly stated that $17 trillion has poured into the country as a result of his economic policies, but where's the proof? This is a claim that has the potential to change the economic landscape. If this investment really exists, then we need to see the records. If it doesn't, then we need to understand why such a large and frankly unverified number was ever presented to the public. We're not just asking for numbers, we're asking for accountability. It's about the integrity of our economy and the trust between the government and the people." The anchor nods and shifts the focus to a video clip of Trump speaking at a rally. Trump's statement echoes through the newsroom. "We've seen the biggest investment boom in history. $17 trillion pouring in. It's incredible." As the clip fades, the camera cuts back to the interview. Turning to analyst's name, a political analyst, the anchor asks, "From your perspective, do you believe there's any substantial evidence to back Trump's claim of a $17 trillion investment surge? What can you tell us about the current situation?" Analyst's name responds, "As of now, there is no hard data to confirm these claims. We've heard Trump tout this number multiple times, but when you request specific details like financial reports, contracts, or even investment allocations, the evidence simply isn't there. At this point, it's hard to take these statements seriously without verifiable sources to back them up. It's a classic case of political rhetoric being amplified, but in this case, it's being taken to an extreme. A $17 trillion boom would be monumental, yet it's nearly impossible to find any public record to support such a claim." The camera shifts back to the anchor, who turns to Lawmaker's name and asks, "So, this lack of evidence is really the crux of the issue. But what specifically are you calling on Trump to do? Are you demanding more than just words?" Lawmaker responds firmly, "Absolutely. What we need from Trump is transparency. If this investment surge is legitimate, then we should have access to public records, or at the very least, official documentation showing where this money is going. If the claim is based on solid evidence, it should be easy to track. But if it's just a talking point or an exaggeration, then we need answers. There's no reason why the American people should be left in the dark about such a major claim. The public deserves more than just rhetoric. They deserve to see how these numbers are impacting our economy." The anchor acknowledges the lawmaker's point and transitions the conversation back to analyst's name, asking, given that political rhetoric often gets amplified during election seasons, "Do you think that's what we're dealing with here? A case of Trump inflating figures for political advantage?" Analyst's name nods thoughtfully. "That's certainly a possibility. Trump has a history of using exaggerated numbers to galvanize support. But even in the realm of rhetoric, a figure as staggering as $17 trillion raises serious questions. If such an investment influx truly existed, it would have had a visible impact on our economy in the form of increased jobs, infrastructure improvements, or at least some noticeable shifts in the market. Yet none of that has materialized. So, yes, it could very well be a rhetorical device, but even then, the absence of proof raises red flags." The anchor turns back to the lawmaker, now looking for clarity. "So in essence, your concern isn't just about Trump's exaggerations. It's about the potential consequences of misleading the public with such an enormous figure." Lawmaker agrees. "Exactly. If the claims are false, it undermines the trust that people have in the political system. And if we allow this kind of misinformation to go unchecked, it sets a dangerous precedent. The impact on public confidence can be lasting." So, we need answers. We need a clear explanation. Either there is $17 trillion coming into the country, or there isn't. And if there isn't, then why was this inflated number used in the first place? The anchor shifts gears and asks, are you optimistic that Trump will provide the requested documentation and transparency, or is this just another case of political posturing? Lawmaker hesitates for a moment before replying, to be honest, I'm not sure. Trump has a history of avoiding accountability when it comes to matters like this, but that's why we're pressing. We have to keep asking the questions and demand transparency. We can't allow this kind of vagueness to continue. The camera returns to the anchor, who turns to analyst's name for the final word. So, what does this mean for the average American? How does a claim like this affect everyday people? Analyst's name offers a sobering conclusion. Well, when figures like $17 trillion are thrown around without evidence, it creates a sense of uncertainty. People begin to question the truthfulness of their leaders, which undermines trust in the system. This could have long-term consequences, not just for Trump, but for the entire political landscape. We need clarity, and we need it now.